Howdy, howdy. Let me see if we're actually live. I've been sitting here for 5 minutes trying to get this thing to turn on, and it does not like to act right. It told me my schedule had expired, and I don't know what all. Let's see. Let me make sure we're live. I think we are. Well, something's not G-Hall. Oh, there we go. I'm looking on this other phone. I think we good. Let me make sure. Alright, I'll give it a minute and let everybody, for anybody that wants to get on here, I'm gonna try some new stuff. I'm gonna try to show a couple video clips and pictures and stuff. I've never really done it before on this app. I'm using the Prism app, and you can, like, if you got media on the phone, you can show it, and I've never really fooled with it. But let's see who this is. Okay, it says that I'm live, so I don't know. But anyway, hadn't talked to you in a while, so I figured I'd pop on here. Joanna may come out in a little bit. Dawn's at work. It was thundering earlier. Now it's just cloudy, so who knows with this weather. But there's a lot of stuff going on at Disney, so I figured we'd talk about it. And I guess the big thing this week is they should be starting to decorate for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Last year we went to the opening night, and it was neat, but God, it was hot and it was steamy, and I will admit it don't feel very Halloweeny just yet, and I think part of that's due to the heat. But we're going first weekend of September, and then we're going back. We'll be there, I think it's 2 nights before Halloween, so that should be fun. And there's some stuff to talk about with the Halloween party, but I'm gonna put together, I think, a little guide of a thing and start putting out a few on the channel, because if I'm adding up right, let's see, 22, 23. This October will be our 7th party, I think, is what I've come up with. And it's our favorite party between Christmas and Halloween. Don't get me wrong, I like the Christmas stuff too, but for some reason the Halloween stuff, to me, is just, there's more fun to it. So, you can dress up, which we've never dressed up. We talked about it this year, but you can dress up and you can collect candy. The thing about the Christmas party is you do get the cookies, but for the most part, you just get like a cookie or two. And at the Halloween party, if you wait till the end of the night and collect all your candies, you get a ton of candy. We have mailed back candy, and I took a box one year that was like 18 by 18 because we had so much candy, and I pre-bought a label and had them ship it. But last year we just took a couple empty suitcases that we didn't really have to take, and we put it in there, and that worked out because I didn't know how TSA would work trying to bring candy through, but they didn't say anything. But the Halloween party's our favorite. You get candy, you get to meet some random characters usually. There's low wait times for some of the rides, or all the rides, or whatever. There's a couple overlays. The Teacups has a Halloween overlay. They turn the lights completely out in Space Mountain. I got a bug on me. It's already, normally pretty dark, but they completely turn out the lights. And then for Christmas, Space Mountain has a Christmas overlay, and you can kind of see because they got these red and green laser lights on. But anyway, for Halloween, you can get a ton of candy. We literally will come back with so much candy that, like, we'll eat on it for like months. Uh-oh, we got a cat on the porch. We'll eat on it for like months afterwards. Kitty, kitty. And we're talking about dressing up for at least one of them this year. I don't know as what, because the first one's going to be hot. We're going early September, so that's going to be pretty warm. Even in October, to be honest with you, it's still pretty warm. Our very first one we went to, it was early October, and it was a little too hot. When we go and it's right at Halloween time, it's sort of that time of the year where like it's still real hot during the day, but in the evenings it's pretty bearable. So that'll be good. But we've tossed around a bunch of random ideas of what to dress up as, and I've looked up stuff. But if we do dress up for one, I don't want it to be something that's super duper like thick and heavy and we're gonna sweat to death. So let me show y'all. I'm gonna try this. I hadn't tried it yet, but we're gonna give it a shot. Media. They're talking about changing. There we go. Let's see if I can do this. They're thinking about, or they're not thinking about, they supposedly have changed the cast member outfits to this for the Halloween party, and that, I don't like it. Nobody likes it. And behind the scenes, I don't know what caused the decision, but I mean, even in some of the groups, some of the cast members are always, so for like the Halloween, really any of the parties, I see where the cast members basically trade, and they can wake up in like 1 a.m., whatever night the schedules are released, and try to get these party shifts because they like doing it so much. And one of the things I also see is they really like wearing the old outfit. So I wonder if I can put 2 images up here. Hang on a second. If I can, I'll show you. Alright, so here's the old outfits. Here's the new outfits. The old ones, the yellow and gold and purple and all that, they're just fun. And I mean, I could see where maybe they're hot, but I mean, they can't. Now they're going to almost dark and black colors. I don't see how that's going to be any better. But, you know, I don't know if there was like a supply issue with the costumes or what, but I'm not a fan. And I mean, I have not seen anybody post that thought this was a good idea. So some of the things just don't make a whole lot of sense. So I'll be curious to see what y'all think. But I mean, there's people that dress up in these outfits to sort of look like a cast member is so popular. And now they're just going to, it's hard to tell, but I mean, from afar, it just looks like a black with a little design and dark green. I don't know if it's supposed to be a haunted mansion sort of themed or what, but I don't like it one bit. That just came out this week, and all I've seen is people say they do not like it. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know why they would put that out if it's not true, but we'll see. I just don't. That's not a good. Sometimes you just wonder, like, who behind the scenes has so little clue that they would have done this. This is not even like, obviously they've already got probably hundreds or thousands of these other outfits, so they've probably already spent the money on the new ones, but that makes no sense when, I mean, it's pretty known fact that everybody loves that old outfit. So anyway, I'll get off of that. Let's go to something else. Let me get this off here. Looks like my little picture thing's working. Let me see what else I can bring up real quick. The World of Disney. Normally if you're facing it from lake or pond or whatever, the left side's got Stitch on top, and for whatever reason Stitch was removed this week, and I'm sure it's just for a refurbishment or whatever. I will say the last 2 or 3 visits we've had, Stitch used to spit out water, and I hadn't seen him do it in a while, so maybe they're just doing a refurb or repaint or whatever. I would imagine, in the middle of the night, as Disney normally does, they probably had to sneak a crane in and pull him off the roof and get him out of there. So I'll just be curious to see when he shows back up. I'm sure he will at some point, or at least I would think. But that's news for this week. Let's see what else I can show y'all. There is, let me add these real quick. The Haunted Mansion has had this scrim up blocking it, and nobody really knew what that was about. There was rumors that maybe it was something to do with getting it ready for whatever's going to happen for Villains Land or for Cars Land or whatever, but I don't really think it was any of that. I think they were just kind of cleaning and maybe retouching and painting some stuff, but it has started to come down and is basically down this week. And I think a few of the colors of the bricks a little brighter, somebody said, so I don't really know if anything else changed. We've been on 2 or 3 visits now where they've just had that scrim. It's just been a big fabric blocking it with a picture of the Haunted Mansion on it, which is, I'd rather have that than a bunch of scaffolds blocking it, but it's just kind of weird, you know what I mean? Just a big scrim, and to have it up for that long and to not really announce what you're doing. You would think they would at least say, hey, we're just cleaning the place up, or we're painting, or whatever. People are freaking out, wondering, like, are they doing a major refurb, or is this got to do with these new lands, or, so I don't know. But it's come back down. Over at Animal Kingdom, there's a good bit of work that you can now see over the barricades. I would think that carousel has either been installed or is about to be installed under that roof you see there. And further back, you can see that Encanto show building that's getting there very quickly. So I hope I was hoping they would, I know they have their reasons or whatever. I was hoping they would open that carousel up quick. That way, Animal Kingdom, they just need something. It's struggling, just to be honest. Everybody was already hollering it was a half-day park, and then they completely shut down Dino Land and did all this stuff. So they need to get all this open quicker than anything else they got going on, in my opinion. But I thought maybe they would get that carousel open first, because they could move that wall behind that carousel and at least give them another something that's running, you know what I mean? But I guess not. But once all this opens, you'll have the dark ride, the Encanto dark ride, which will be good. And they'll have the carousel, which will be good. I think there's some sort of playground situation going to happen. And then I'm curious to see, I really think Avatar Flight of Passage needs some love. But that's just going to take, another big thing down. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. See if I got enough room I can plug this up. Maybe. I just think Animal Kingdom for quite some time now has needed, sorry, I'm bouncing y'all around, plug up this thing, has needed some help. I really think they need to go all out, and they could do it without a ton of resources. They got that big pond with all that seating for probably several thousand people around it. They could do anything out there. I don't care if they just put the Fab Five on pontoons and stroll them around and wave at people. Like, they could do something out there. That's a huge, huge, huge lake for nothing to happen, and a lot of seating that's already there. I think the last thing they tried was the kites that ended in like late 2022 or so, and they were sort of a flop. But even after that, they were still doing the characters on the pontoons, and they would ride under the bridges and wave at people, and I thought that was cool, and then they stopped doing that. But I think Animal Kingdom needs to get all this open ASAP and come up with a very quick plan of replacing projectors or whatever on Flight of Passage or whatever they need to do. But you can tell it's showing its age, and some of the graphics just don't look as crisp anymore. But that's probably the #1 hitter at Animal Kingdom, so if they close it for very long, that's going to be a mess again. We did not on our last trip get to go do the Bluey thing, but mainly because the way they're basically, you get on the old Wildlife Express train, it takes you out there to the conservation station. I don't even know if that's what they're calling it anymore, and then you still have to wait. And from the videos I've seen, they've got it weird because while you wait, you see Bluey and Bingo come out, so you already know what they're doing and you see them. But then people were saying you had to wait like sometimes 45 minutes in the building before you could get over to them, to the actual party part of it. And I don't know. But I'm hoping it's calmed down on our upcoming trip, because I would like to go see them. But I think they need to get that together. They also have the area with like the kangaroos and stuff. And supposedly, I guess it's already walkable, but they were going to have trails you could walk down, paved paths basically, and see the kangaroos. You're not going to be like petting them like you were the sheep or whatever, but they were trying to get them used to people before they opened that path up. Let's see. So I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I just feel like Animal Kingdom needs to get their act together. They need to get all this stuff open. And I think if I would have been Disney, I would have somehow super duper discounted the ticket prices to Animal Kingdom while this new land was being fixed, or maybe just made it to where if you bought a ticket to another park, it wouldn't be any charge if you wanted to hop over to Animal Kingdom, something like that. You know what I mean? There's still stuff to do, but I mean, literally, we go there in the mornings and stay 2 or 3 hours, and you can basically knock it all out. You know what I mean? Especially if you got lightning lanes. Let me answer this real quick. But if, average Joe that probably wouldn't go to Animal, because that's the one park people are kind of skipping. Average Joe that wouldn't go to Animal Kingdom, if you had it to where if a family bought 2 days of park tickets, and say they were going to wherever, Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and then you say, listen, both those days, if you want to go to Animal Kingdom, no extra charge, until this certain date or whatever. I think that would be neat. Or have it like time based. You can only park hop over there after 2 or whatever, but no extra charge. And it would, I'm not saying when we've been there it's been empty by no means, and there's still, you still got Expedition Everest, Flight of Passage, Navi River, in the safari, but like, I don't know, we can, with lightning lanes, we can go over there at rope drop and be gone by like 10:30 and basically have done everything. So that's not great. I think after this Encanto stuff opens, I think they still need another thing or two, and I don't know what that is. I was watching a thing this week about when it first opened, and they used to have parades there and all that sort of thing, and I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool. But the picture looks like they just need to put a roof and some theming on that carousel, and that building's done. And then they still got, I'm sure, a lot of work to do. But hopefully sooner than later they get that stuff done. Let me get y'all, see if I can figure out how to do this. Here's something to talk about. The dang trash cans. On our last visit, they had just rolled out, let me get my live stream back on my phone here. they had just rolled out these new trash cans. And what's funny is I had read about them before we went, and we were at Epcot, and I walked over to one and tried to push that thing open like you normally would, and it wouldn't open. And it took me like 15, or not, I don't know. It took me a minute, a second, whatever I'm trying to say, to figure out, oh, I got to open this thing on my foot. And I'm sure over time people will realize it. But then when we got back, I noticed they were posting pictures of people couldn't even figure out how to open them, and were just sitting their trash on top of it because they didn't know what to do. And unless you, honestly, the only reason I knew to step on that little thing was because I'd seen a post about it before we went. But I could see where it would be confusing. So I don't know. That's a mess. They have actually put out an instructional video to show people that you got to step on this thing to open these trash cans up. So I guess I do like it because you're not having to like touch that little flapper part and get bad juju on your hands. But at the same time, I don't think anybody was really mad about that. So I don't know if that needed to be fixed. But whatever floats their boat. I just thought it was funny they had to put out an instructional video to show people how that works. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to play this video while I'm talking. I'm trying all this. Hang on one second. Okay. I'm trying to learn how to get. Let me get this fixed. Oh, I didn't want to zoom in. I'm using this Prism app. Get away. Okay. And I'm trying some new stuff here. Oh, I didn't want to go that big. I done messed it up. How do I get back out of that? What a mess. Shrink. Hang on. There we go. Oh, now it went berserk. Alright, that's about what I want. Now let's see if it'll...
Pay for one of those little tour guide people so they can be my partner in riding all these rides.
Space Rangers.
My next party will be right here. Watch your stuff. Are you doing it too?
Always remain seated.
Jump on. Go. Go.
Know your stuff. Keep an eye on it. Alrighty. Stay forward and sit back. I'm gonna lower your cruiser shield.
Got the blaster.
Cruiser for a spin and send
What color are you?
Okay, you take it from here. Time to make Zern take this tune. Rock it and roll.
You're almost past Surge Bravo Blockade. Planet C is next. Outstanding start, pilots. Excellent delivery.
What about now, Garrett? Hang on. Did that make it where you can hear me? I'm glad you told me that. Hang on, let me click this button and see what it tells me. What if I do that? All right, I'm gonna restart the video. I clicked something down here, and I'm gonna see if it fixed it. What about? Hang on. What about now? I don't know what it's doing. It's crazy because the way I had read up on it, it said if you turn down the regular volume that you would hear me and not the video. I can only hear you. Okay. That's crazy. I'm glad you told me that. This Prism app, you can swipe over, and any media that's on the phone, like you can pop up here like this. And I think I've showed a picture or two, like when we've been live streaming at the parks. But I wanted to try this because I thought this might be pretty neat, but I didn't know. It's just weird. The controls are weird the way they got it. But anyway, I was saying Ron made a video on this Space Ranger spin of like how to get over 1 million points. He made it like this past week, and I'm glad he did because I've done tried like 5 different times shooting the old targets that were worth a lot of points and shooting different targets. I can't get over like 800,000. But here comes a loud truck. Kind of a loud truck. It might get loud. But I mainly wanted to see, like, if I played a video like this, and I think this video is like 5, 6, 7 minutes, would it like lock down the phone, or if it seems like it's doing okay, best I can tell. But Streamlabs, as much as I tried to love Streamlabs, I always had so many bugs with it that I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I finally got mad because I think there was like, when we were doing the podcast every week, it dropped like and I was paying like the $30 a month for the premium whatever, so it wouldn't. I think on Wi-Fi. Hang on. It says I'm on Wi-Fi unless I've done something wrong, and I could have done something wrong, but I think I'm on it. According to my little ticker thing, it says we got a strong upload, but I got no idea. But anyway, Streamlabs dropped us in like an hour live stream. It dropped us 3 times and ended the dang stream. And after that, I told Dawn, I was like, I am done with Streamlabs. And I think I'm still paying for it. I got Streamlabs, I got this Prism, and I've got something called Restream that I've never used. And then there's a cheaper one that I can't remember the name of, and I used it when I would when I'd go to Phantasmic and take like the big Canon R6 II or whatever, and I would get a real good picture from the camera. But I think with so many people in a small space, I think it was struggling to keep up like the bit rate or whatever. So I don't know. Okay, yeah, honestly, and part of this live stream, I thought I'll just get on here and chat and then go back and look at it and see if it looks okay or if it chopped up or whatever. But it's supposed to be thunderstorming right now. Let's see if I can flip this camera around. I'm just sitting on the front porch. How do I do this? Rear. Ta-da. But the dang sun's out. But anyway, Ron put out that video, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did, but like I'd have loved to have figured it out on my own, but I done been through that thing like 5 times. I've shot it, this, that, and the other. Couldn't make any rhyme or reason out of it. But I'm pretty sure next visit I can figure it out. I feel like my phone gets a little warm no matter what I use, and this is a S26 Ultra. Let me do away with that. This is the S26 Ultra. I was on the 24 Ultra, which I still got it. In the 24, I'd always take out of the case and all that, just trying to let it breathe. But I do know, I think it was when we went to that first Halloween party last year, it was smoking hot, and I was trying to live stream, and I was trying to go into stores and shows and whatever to get that thing to cool off. And I mean, I felt like I could fry a dang egg on the back of that thing. It was hot, hot. And I've always wondered how these people that do it every day, which I do, I've noticed a lot of them, go into this time of year, going to a lot of shows and this, that, and the other. But there's got to be like some kind of which I guess with a gimbal, you can't put too much on there, but some kind of cooling case or fan or something. Because even like during the summer here in South Carolina, when we go do these weddings, we do pictures and video, but the video, a lot of times the cameras will start overheating, and I'll have to shut them off like mid-ceremony and let them cool down for 3 or 4 minutes and fire them back up. That's the good thing. It's like a backup whatever. I'll set actually I had 2 of them and I sold one, but I'll set the Pocket 3 out. I've never had that thing overheat. Now granted, for that sort of video, it's not as good as like a high-end mirrorless camera, but it was to where I could like cut, if I needed to, I could cut to that clip briefly while these other ones were cooling off. But I tried putting a white, basically towel on the back of the cameras. They said open up the screens on the back of them and it would help. They make little umbrellas you can put on them, all kind of stuff, but it's just so dang hot and humid. But yeah, from what I've seen, they just got their gimbal and that's it. I will say I need to make a video. I was about to say lightning rod, the fuel rod things. I had originally bought one of those little round ones and it wasn't worth a flip. They updated the round ones and they're a little bit better. But then they came out with them brick ones. This ain't one here, but it's about half of this size. And I think it's 10,000 milliamps or whatever, and it'll charge. I was having trouble, like if I would live stream, the little round one wouldn't keep up. It wouldn't even increase my charge, you know what I mean? It was still like losing voltage plugged into the dang fuel rod. The brick one, it's good, and I bought a couple of them, but they're like $80. But the good thing is, of course, you can keep them and recharge them, but if you're at the park and it's going dead, and say you were on a live stream or whatever, you can just run over to that machine and swap it out, and it'll give you a brand new charged one, and you're good to go. So that's kind of why I did that. I've seen them switch phones too, and I did that. Well, I tell you what I wanted to do, and it's never really worked out because we always got, obviously, a child with us. But I've wanted to take 2 phones, and me and Dawn do separate things, like she go ride, let's say, Peter Pan, and I go get in line for whatever, you know what I mean, anything. Let's just say the People Mover, and I kind of sort of gauge to where I think I'm going to be getting on the People Mover about the time she's getting off Peter Pan, and I know it wouldn't work out perfect, but that's the only thing that sucks about some of the live stream stuff is like, you want to see people ride stuff, but at the same time, for me at least, if I got one on the TV or whatever, if they get in a line and they're going to have to stand there for 45 minutes, I usually either change it or I'm off doing something else, because I ain't going to sit there and watch them sit in a line for 45 minutes most of the time. But with 2 people, you could kind of trade it back and forth, you know what I mean? Like she get on Peter Pan when according to how the line is, but she gets off, it flips to me, I ride People Mover. In the 10 or 11 minutes I'm riding People Mover, she could walk over to Small World, and then I could walk over to, whatever. And I thought that would be, how about this truck? That would be neat, but you'd have to have 2 people. I don't think you could do it with a kid, you know what I mean? But it was not ideal, because the night we were going to try it, I don't even remember when it was, but it was just like, this really ain't worth trying. But I think last year one of my phones went dead, and I flipped to the other phone real quick. But that probably would make the most sense. Just keep one somehow cooled off in a bag, and then if it gets too hot, you know, jump to another one. But I don't know. I bought a little gimbal before this last trip. It was a Zhiyun, or however you say it. I got one of their big gimbals for our mirrorless camera, but it's the smallest phone gimbal I've seen. I've got like 4 or 5 DJI gimbals. The newer ones suck. The old, if you look at Ron and all them, they use the Gen 3 ones, and they're all the way up to the Gen 8 now. But the Gen 3 ones, you don't have to use the little phone accessory that comes with it, and it's this little tiny metal clamp that you got to clamp on your phone. The older ones are just built in, and you just put it into the gimbal itself, and they honestly seem to be a little more stable than these new ones. But anyway, I bought this new one, the Smooth Q2 or something like that, just because it was tiny, and I thought, I've done got to the point, me and Garrett were texting about this a while ago, but I got to the point of, when I film all this stuff, I want it to be quality, but I also know that I'm going to be there all day, and I'm not trying to tote around 15 pounds of equipment if I can avoid it. So this little gimbal I could fit in my little side bag I wear, and it did okay. I don't think it's as stable as the DJI stuff, but it may be usable. I used it at, I think, SeaWorld, and live streamed the fireworks, and I did something else with it, but I just ain't quite figured it out. I ain't used it enough. But I think of all the live streamers, though, Goo and his brother have sort of got it figured out. I mean, they do a lot of stuff. They do pin trading, they do rides. A lot of times they'll have lightning lanes, so there's not too much of a wait. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. They've played putt-putt. They got that other channel where they go eat and stuff. I think they got it figured out. Let me see. I was going to show something else. Oh, here's what I need to show. Check this out. I don't know if anybody's seen this yet. It just popped up before I went live. A brawl broke out. I guess it was yesterday or today on Flight of Passage. It said people had waited about 80 minutes and there was 2 groups kind of going at it with each other. Check this out. Hang on one second. Here we go. I mean, they are straight up throwing bows, son. And then this poor little cast member lady, it's just her. Hang on, you'll see her. Comes running. And obviously, you know, one person, I don't know what she could really do. They're still hollering at each other. And I don't even know exactly what it was about, but somebody did say, like, I guess security got there semi-quick, and then the police came and carried some of them off. So I don't know. I mean, they are straight up brawling. That is wild. And I don't know if they knew each other, didn't know each other. I'd love to know what. I'm sure it'll come out. Yeah, it is way too hot for all that. I'm just happy to be able to walk to the next ride and not die. Anyway, that's wild. What we'll do is we'll meet up at Flight of Passage, me and Dawn, Lindsay and Garrett, and if somebody tells us that they don't like the people mover, we're gonna be throwing some bows. But no, it literally just popped up as I was about to. I didn't even know I was going to do this live. I got to tinkering around with the app, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go live and see if I can figure out how to do some of this stuff. I'll tell you what I do need to go do is turn on a porch light. Hang on a second. How do I go back to add? Oh, I love the people mover. Alright, y'all hang on. I'm going to go turn on the porch light. I'm going to probably have bugs swarming me, but it'll be alright. Let me unplug my power bank. Okay. Y'all hang on for 1 second. Okay. It's still grainy looking. It'll be alright. I gotta figure out, we're going to that party in September it'll be on September the 4th. And then we're going to another one on October 29th. I think what I want to do is on the September one. Well, here's the thing though. I've already got a couple years of footage, but I mean, every year something small changes. But I kind of want to just video that first one. So I got like, that'll only be a few weeks into the party starting. And then maybe live stream the one on the 29th. I don't know. At the same time, when I live stream, most of the time, I've got the Action 5 on that little clip, and I'll flip it up and record 10 seconds of whatever, just enough to where I know I can put a video together. And with this Prism, you can also, I've got it set somehow or another, like after the live stream, it'll save the entire thing to the phone, and it'll save it like in a little bit better quality than it's showing on YouTube, you know what I mean? So anyway, I just got to figure out the plan. And the other thing that sucks about live streaming is with the youngins, as y'all know, I'm not trying to take away too much time live streaming versus going and riding or doing whatever with Joanna, but it does get a ton of, most of the time, a good number of viewers and that sort of thing, so it sucks to not do it. But I also realize, like, I'm not there every week and all, so I don't know how much. I've got on there before, and after like 15 or 20 minutes, nobody hardly gets on there, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to cut it. And then I've got on there before, and within like a few minutes, it goes wild. And what's crazy is, if you do it vertical, which I hate doing, it pushes it harder, because I think it shows up in the shorts feed. But if you do it vertical, I've had like 1 million people get on there, but they're in like got Iraq or something, you know what I mean? Oh God, cat on the porch. They're talking all kind of, oh, we got a mad cat on the porch. Hey, get off the porch. Y'all might get to see a cat fight. But anyway, there's people on there commenting all kind of crazy stuff, and I'm like, you know what, this ain't the people I'm trying to reach or whatever, so I rarely do the vertical thing. But it just sucks to get on there and spend 20 or 30 minutes trying to round up people, and then hardly nobody gets on there. But you can usually tell if, like, I'll look on YouTube, and if like Ron and Resort TV 1 and everybody and their brothers already live streaming, I know I ain't got a chance. You know what I mean? Why would they tune into me when they already know who these people are? But I've been to a few where hardly nobody's live streaming. I think it was Jollywood or something last year, and it got like a bunch of viewers and subscribers and all that. So we are going to, hang on a minute, see if I got it on this other phone. We are going to a Jollywood and a very merry party. I just got to look at what dates it was. I think it was about 2 weeks before Christmas. I don't know if I got it on this iPhone or not. I don't. I can't remember the exact dates, but it's like 2 weeks before Christmas. Last year we kind of messed up. We went the week before Christmas, which was nice, but I didn't think about it. We got back like the day before Christmas Eve. So we like go down there and blow a ton of money. Came back, had all this Christmas mess. And then after all that was said and done, I was like, my God, we should have planned this a little better, because we've been running and then doing Christmas stuff and doing it. I was like, we need to next year back it up a little bit. So we got a week or two break before Christmas, because we got back and hadn't half bought like all our Christmas presents for people. We was running around going crazy. It was a mess. But I like both of them. I've grown to like Jollywood a lot, but I feel like it's more of an adult. I mean, there's plenty of kids stuff to do there, but I feel like it's more of an adult centered thing. But I like both of them. I mean, I like the parade of the Very Merry, and I don't know, just the overall vibe at Jollywood is neat. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it without being there, but a lot of people dress up for Jollywood in like nice, 1930s style clothes and all that. We hadn't done that, but I thought about it. But that's the plan. We're staying. Let's see. I was getting worried because this coming up trip, it would be the reason we picked the dates we picked for this next trip is Joanna. It's Joanna's birthday on September 3rd, and she said she wanted to go to Epic Universe. She loves Epic Universe, so I was like, okay. So I planned Epic Universe on her birthday, the Halloween party the day after, and then we'll have 2 or 3 days after that to play around. But and I like going to that Halloween party as close to Halloween as I can. And then I was still like throwing around the idea of, should I zoom down there like next weekend for that opening party? But luckily they sold out, and I was like, okay, that ain't gonna happen now. But I don't think I should have went anyway, because it's hot, and then you got like everybody and their brother that's some sort of media person there on that opening night. Because last year absolutely roasted at that opening party. But anyway, so we'll go September, and we'll go back into October through, I think, November the 2nd. And last year, I think we were there till November 3rd last year, and that, I want to say the morning of the 2nd or 3rd, Dawn went in early to Magic Kingdom, and they had started putting up the Christmas stuff, and that was kind of neat. And then we've talked about trying to go down there for New Year's Eve one year. I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, whatever, because we've been for the 4th. And it, to be honest, it was neat for the 4th, but it's just overly packed even more than normal. And they did have the special fireworks and all that was neat to see, but it took like 3 times as long to get out of there, because that was last year. We went in June, stayed at the Contemporary. You can't beat the Contemporary, because you can just walk right over there. Went in July and stayed at French Quarter, which I think is my favorite non-super ritzy hotel, because it's still smaller, so you don't have to walk that far, but you can walk like 5 or 10 minutes and be at Riverside, and there's a million things you can do. They got me and Joanna, when we stayed at Riverside, they got a place you can go out there and fish, and you can ride kayaks, and you can do all sorts of stuff. The problem with staying at Riverside is there's like 5 bus stops on that loop in the hotel area before you even get out, and we didn't like that. But I really thought we was going to end up staying at Caribbean Beach, because it was the only thing popping up available that was under like $500 a night. And I almost was going to book it, because we've never stayed there, but I know they got the big bus loop as well, but at least you got the Skyliner, or you could walk over to Riviera and jump on the bus. And then magically, I think it's Mickey Alerts or something like that. I had that on my phone, and I had set up like all the All-Stars and the French Quarter, and I think Pop Century, and it popped up and said French Quarter had availability. And I had these alerts set for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was already telling Dawn, I was like, this is going to suck if we end up having to go down there and stay off property and all this mess, because we did that one time and it just wasn't the same. You know what I mean? Like it was, I don't want to say a pain, but it was a little bit of a pain compared to when you can just like get on the Skyliner or the bus or the whatever. So anyway, that popped up and I booked it real quick, and so I'm not mad about that. But I think, Garrett, I think y'all have stayed at Polynesian Village. We have yet to stay there. That's like the one place I want to stay that we hadn't. But I mean, I've heard mixed reviews. We were going to stay there on the last trip, but the only thing open was the new tower. And I want to stay in the new tower at some point, but I wanted the old Polynesian vibe the first time, so I didn't book it. But at the same time, I am as happy as I can be staying at those cheap all-star resorts, because they got the big theming and everybody likes it. It's the old 80s and 90s stuff, and Joanna likes it because it's big and bold, and we've never had any trouble. And my trick is you stay at movies, all-star movies, in the Mighty Ducks section, and in that building you're exactly between all-star movies buses and all-star music buses. It's like the same walk. So like if you roll up to the bus stop and there's a million people waiting for movies and there's one already parked at music, you can just jump on music, so you get like double the chances of jumping on the bus. Because for whatever reason, I feel like every resort we stay at, we'll be in the line with 200 people waiting for a bus, and there'll be like no other people waiting for any other resort except for where we're staying at. But anyway, at Pop Century this last time, we was at Magic Kingdom one night, and I mean, our line was packed, and they finally started pulling up 2 buses at a time and loading and loading and loading. And then of course you got to stand up and about break your neck trying to get back to the hotel. Anyway, I think French Quarter will be good. I'll probably book, unless something cheap pops up, probably book All Stars for the October and December trips. I would love to stay at the Grand Floridian for like Christmas time one year, but man, they think a lot of them rooms. And we've done the deal before where you like, one year we stayed at Art of Animation, which was the first place we'd ever stayed for however many nights, and then we moved over to Riverside. And as cool as that sounded on paper, it was a pain in the butt having to pack up all our junk. We had flew down there, so then we had to get it all into an Uber, and then we got over to Riverside and didn't realize how big of a place it was. And thank God some guy was like, you want me to put all that on a golf cart? I was like, yeah, come on. Let me whoop out some money here, boss man. And luckily he drove us to our room or whatever with all our crap. But so after that I was like, I don't think the resort moving around is for me. Yeah, I bet it was a long walk. I've also heard, according to where you stay at, you all the time hearing them dang them ferry boat horns from the TTC or whatever. Dang mosquito about to dive by me. And it could be loud and all that sort of thing. I'd really like to go back and stay, and it's the older section, but in the garden wing at the Contemporary. It's those little like 2-story buildings off to the side. But they say out the back of those things you can see that electrical water pageant, and it's like 20 yards from you because you're so close to the water or whatever. But the Contemporary by far I think was my favorite. Just the history, you got the monorail. I really like that you could in 10 minutes be inside the Magic Kingdom just by walking. There was no wait. But I guess if there was a downside to it, the getting to the other parks took a minute, because Magic Kingdom's kind of up above everything. So if you wanted to go to Animal Kingdom or whatever, it took a hot minute to get there. I mean, it wouldn't take that long, but you know what I mean. But that's good. And I keep looking at those, I don't remember what they call them, but like them bungalows at Polynesian Village. And they're right there at that ferry boat thing. And I've seen multiple people stay there, these vlogger, like people that do it full time. And you can hear them things out there blowing horns at 5:30 in the morning or whatever. And I thought, man, I'd be pissed to spend whatever they spend, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the night and stay in one of them things and it start blowing horns at 5:30. I'd really like to stay at Fort Wilderness for a trip and kind of make that trip just kind of know, like, we're going to probably not venture out as much, but like rent a golf cart and do the whole shebang, all the stuff at Fort Wilderness. I mean, still go to the parks, but maybe not as much as usual. I was looking into that. Joanna would be all about that, so maybe next year for her birthday I might try to shoot for doing that. But we go over there sometimes. There's 2 places over there you can ride horses, and she'll ride the horses, but I think there's a place up front where you can actually go down some trails and stuff, like on the horses. I need to look into that. And we've never done the Hoop-de-Doo review or whatever. I kind of thought about doing it this time in September because there's a night we could do it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it then or wait. I keep wanting to venture out and try these other restaurants and stuff, and sometimes I'll even book them, and then we'll be in the middle of like trying to get the rides or doing whatever, and I'll be like, you know what, this ain't going to work. Our schedule's going to be all jacked up. But I got one night, I ain't got it on my iPhone. There's one night, like we get there this coming trip, we're going on a Wednesday. We're staying 2 nights at Universal because Joanna's wanting to do the Epic Universe thing. And we bought, well, the season passes don't cover Epic yet, which kind of sucks. But we're going Wednesday afternoon and evening, go to regular Universal and Islands of Adventure and all that. Spend all day at Epic Thursday, and then probably rope drop Universal Friday. That's the day of our Mickey's party. And then get our butts over to the hotel and just chill out until about 4:30. And then go do the party. And then, I mean, that thing is technically over at 12:30, but it's usually 1 or after when we get out of there. So obviously I can't really, especially with Joanna, I can't go do something early the next morning. So then I think we're going to sleep in, and I think we're going to do like a couple hours at Hollywood Studios, probably a couple hours at Epcot. And I'd like to eat, that'll be Saturday, yeah. I'd like to eat somewhere new. Last time I had actually booked that Japanese place, the one that cooks in front of you. But that morning I got to reading reviews, and people were like, you might as well plan on like wasting 2 hours. They said by the time they get everybody together and get you seated and do this, that, and the other, like everybody was posting it like 2 hours. And I was like, I don't have 2 hours to wait. So I canceled that, and we ended up, I think that's when we went to Garden Grill, which we love Garden Grill. I still hadn't been to Cinderella's Royal Table. I still hadn't been to that one in Epcot. There's 2. We had a cat that somebody like threw out and was pregnant, so we got a couple cats that hang around, and I think they're about ready to brawl. I hadn't ate at the one in Epcot that's got all the princesses. I hadn't ate at the one in Germany in Epcot that's got the singing people or whatever happens. So there's several restaurants I'd like to hit that we hadn't hit yet. But I feel like every time I'll plan on all these stuff, but that's what'll get cut. Like the restaurant, I'll be like, you know what? I'd rather go ride this or go do that or whatever. We'll just cancel this and figure it out later. And sometimes we'll even just DoorDash something to the hotel so that we don't waste time. But that's what kills me for these parties. I don't want to sit down and waste. You paying whatever it is, $200 and something a person, to go to this party for 6 hours. I don't really want to sit down for an hour and eat. So we've took the PB&Js before. Sometimes Dawn will just run and grab us some kind of quick service thing, whatever, but I feel like the food always slows us down. But I love Skipper Canteen. I love Tony's. I don't mind the Harbor House. I can't fall in love with Casey's Corner. We ate there a time or two, and it's just like, I don't know, like their chili come out of a Wendy's that shut down last month or something. I don't know. It don't taste worth the flip. And I just can't fall in love. And I like a good hot dog, but I can't make them work. But I'm glad we got to ride Big Thunder Mountain on this last trip. They got it refurbished. Supposedly in about 2 weeks they're doing D23, and a lot of people are saying they're going to announce that they're going to refurb Space Mountain. And the problem with that's going to be the People Mover goes through Space Mountain, so they're going to close. If that comes to be true, they're going to have to close People Mover and Space Mountain, and I'm sure it's going to take them quite some time. It would be at least a year, because what I have read, and I don't know if any of this is true, but I have read that they're going to completely redo Space Mountain, and instead of making it like a 2-track system, it's going to be a 1-track system and a lot more modern and smooth, which honestly it needs that. But I just hate for the Joker to close for a year or two, you know, whatever it's going to take to do it. I feel like before they touch Space Mountain, they need to get Cars and Villains Land and all that done. But man, if they have to close that People Mover, I'm going to be mad, because that is like the one thing. I mean, there's a wait in the middle of the day, but there's never a super long wait. It's just a good thing to sit on and chill out for about 10 minutes. We've even rode it multiple times. You know, you give them a little signal. And anyway, I just like the People Mover. I like going to Cosmic Rays, and I'll get the dang lobster roll, some French fries, and that little Boston cream pie. My God. I can barely walk when I get out of there, but it's good. There ain't many places we've had a bad experience with. I don't really care for Casey's, and like you say, it's expensive. Like I think it was 2 years ago for the Halloween party, I told Dawn, because I was like, we got to figure out something to eat, and it was already like fireworks time. So I mobile ordered like 3 hot dogs and all the crap from Casey's. I forget, it was like 60 or 70 bucks, and I was like, this is outrageous. And last year, one of the parties last year, we took food in, like sandwiches, and another one, I think she went over to Pecos Bill's, but that was when my phone died, because I had went over to Tomorrowland, and we were going to meet back up for fireworks, and I thought she was watching me. I was live streaming, and I was like, Dawn, my phone's dead, help. And she wasn't watching me. She was trying to get food for us, and ended up waiting for like 20 minutes to get food, and it was a whole mess. But I've never ate at the Pinocchio Village House. I might have to test it out. I've ate it. I like Old Sunny Eclipse. I love Sunny Eclipse from New York. But I've never ate at the Pinocchio Village House. We've ate at the Be Our Guest thing a couple times. I don't mind it. I do wish you could meet the Beast and him not just walk around. That's sort of weird. I think it's something they started at COVID time and never changed it back. But I don't know. Trying to think of where else I hadn't ate at. There's plenty of places in Epcot. I hadn't everywhere at Hollywood Studios, like the ABC commissary and all that. I don't mind that. We've ate at Roundup Rodeo. I really like it there. To me, I don't think I've made the video yet. I know I hadn't. We ate at the Brown Derby over there on this last visit. It's good, but it ain't like, oh, a bug hit me in the eye. It ain't like over the top good. Everybody always, because me and Dawn and Joanna went a couple years ago and got the salad, and like everybody said, and it was like, this is an okay salad, but it's kind of dry and like it's not really doing anything for me. So I got the filet this time, and it was good. It wasn't great. I think Dawn went ahead and got the salad again to retest it, and we both agreed again. It was real just kind of dry tasting and whatever. I mean, I like the place and the experience. It just, I don't know. Where else in Hollywood? We've ate at the Docking Bay 7 or whatever. It's pretty decent. I had one of them hot dog looking things over there. I can't remember what they call it, but it was kind of neat. But I got to finish making all these videos. This last trip, we were supposed to fly back on a Monday. They canceled the dang flight because of weather. It was thunderstorming pretty good, but I just expected they'd have another airplane. So when they canceled it, they were like, you got to scan this QR code, and it'll either let you do it on the app or you need to call the number. We flew Frontier, of all things, which is, we've never had any trouble with, but it is cheap. So I had to call the number, and the guy's like, we can't get you, this is Monday, we can't get you out till Wednesday unless you can leave tomorrow, but we're going to fly you to, God, where was it? Somewhere up in like Ohio or something first. And I was like, I'm not doing all that. I said, I'll tell you what, just refund me. I'll figure it out. So I get on Delta's thing, which we flew some. They wanted like $1,500 or something. I was like, nope. So I ended up renting a minivan. Luckily, Dawn was able to switch with somebody so she didn't have to work the next day or something. And we rented a blue minivan. And I cannot tell y'all how bad I wanted to just, I'd already looked it up while we was waiting. They had a cheap room at like All Star Music. And I thought, you know what? We could just go back to All Star Music. The thing was, though, it was raining, and I knew even though we could have got there and maybe went to a park for a couple hours, it was raining. It wouldn't have been that fun. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drive up into Georgia as far as I can make it. So we drove, I won't say 3.5 hours up into Georgia. We stopped at a Waffle House somewhere right when we got into Georgia. And while we were eating, I was trying to figure out where we could stay. So I don't even remember the name of the town. Adele or something. I think it was Adele because I remember the singer. I found a hotel. It had sort of okay reviews, and I seen it was beside a Walmart. So I was like, well, let me just book it. I booked it. It was in Cracktown, and but it was okay. We all we had to do was sleep. We get there at like midnight or a little after. Slept till like 8, and ran to Walmart. We didn't have to, but I didn't have another shirt with me, and I think Joanna needed something, a shirt or something, and Joanna had seen when I was looking for where we could stay at on the map, it said that we were near the world's largest peanut monument. She was dead set we was going to stop there. So I pulled in there, had to get off. It wasn't far. I mean, you could see it from the interstate. I pulled in there, and we took a funny picture or whatever. And what was crazy, 2 or 3 days later, I don't know if y'all follow Adam the Woo that died, but his daddy has a channel now. And he stopped there. Him and his wife stopped there, and I told Dawn, I said, they had to either be there the same day or the day after we were there. And of all places, it was at the world's largest peanut monument in the middle of Georgia somewhere. But anyway, we drove the blue minivan all the way back up to Atlanta, got Dawn's car, and then came home. And it wasn't that big of a deal. It just sucked. You know, we was planning on being at home in an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever it was going to take. And then we, anyway, so that should make a pretty interesting video. But what sucks is on YouTube, I feel like anything that's not specific to Disney, they don't push it or something, so I don't know. But I don't know how I even got into telling that story. At Animal Kingdom, we got the, I ain't got my wallet in my pocket, but we got that Landry's Select card a couple years ago. And what you do, you get it, you have to spend, you pay for it, it's $25, but they put $25 on the card, and you can use it at the Yak and Yeti, which I really like in Animal Kingdom, or you can use it at T-Rex Cafe or any of the Rainforest cafes. And there's a couple places down here at Myrtle Beach that's owned by Landry's. There's a couple places in Atlanta, but I really like eating at Yak and Yeti, and we use that card. And every year on your birthday, they give you $25 on it. So I just got another $25 on it. So I think we're going to try to eat there this coming trip. But I think what I was going to talk about was the places to eat at Animal Kingdom. It's been a while, but we ate at Flame Tree Barbecue, and it was good a couple years ago. That Saltuli or whatever canteen, we eat breakfast there a good bit. It's pretty decent. What am I missing? There's just a bunch of little nooks and crannies there that's neat to eat at. But Epcot has got so much stuff. Several years ago, we ate at the steakhouse in Canada. What's the name of it? I'll think of it in a minute. And it was good. I didn't consider it great, but it was good. Oh, Le Cellier. That's it. And then the year after that, we ate at, I can't think of nothing. What's the one over at Mission Space? Space 220. And they knocked it out of the park. I got a filet. It was cooked perfect. Everything was perfect. So we go back last year, and it sucked. They done started on their filet. They put this dang red wine sauce on it that makes my beautiful charred filet cooked medium rare taste like it's got some kind of sweet candy sauce or something on there. And I even told them, I was like, put it on the side. I was like, y'all, this is gonna ruin this steak. And they do the same thing at the Brown Derby. They had that same sauce or something similar to it on the filet at the Brown Derby. But that kind of ruined. I'll go back to Space 220, but Lord, it is expensive. And it's sort of a pre-set sort of menu. Like you got to pick one of these appetizers, one of these main things, and one of these desserts. So I don't know. I might give it a year or two because I enjoy it, but I think for the price, it's a little crazy. But there's a ton of places. That Coral Reef restaurant, we ate there last August. It was okay. I didn't hate it like people talk about. I think their menu should be a little bigger, but it was decent whatever we got. I'll tell you where we went on this last trip. Let me back up. Either October or December, I went to SeaWorld for a couple hours, and I had looked up, and there was this place called the Boston Lobster Feast, not terribly far from SeaWorld up in Orlando. And I seen it was like all you can eat crab legs, and that's my sort of jive, some crab legs. And so we went there, and it was great. It was crab legs, lobster, all these shrimp, all this stuff. And it was expensive, but to be honest, it was I guess you'd say cheap compared to some of these Disney prices we paid. So this past trip, I was like, let's go to the one down in Kissimmee, because we went down there to Kissimmee Old Town one Saturday night. Kissimmee Old Town, I'd seen some people vlog about it, but like on Friday nights they have a muscle car show, and it's like a whole Main Street thing, and then at like 7:30 they all line up and do a little slow drive through the town or whatever. And then on Saturday night they do a classic car. I forget all the stipulations. It had to be older than 1985 or whatever it was. So I was like, let's just go see what that's about and walk around. And Joanna wanted to go to that Maine Coon Manor place, which is right beside it. So we did, and I'll be honest, that was one of the neater places I've seen. Right up there with Celebration. We went last October and did some trick-or-treating in Celebration, and that is the neatest town. I mean, like, everybody had their houses decorated. Everybody was out there with candy, and I mean, it was like over the top decorated. We'll definitely go do that again this year. But I lost my train of thought. We go to that Boston Lobster Feast in Kissimmee. It closes at 10 o'clock. We get there at like 8:45. All right, so that's an hour and 15 minutes. That's, to me, plenty of time. But when we walk in, the lady's like, y'all know we close in a little over an hour, don't you? I was like, yeah. And I wanted to be like, as long as y'all got food on that bar over there, we'll probably be out of here in 30 or 40 minutes. But I didn't say it. So we go sit down. We get in the side eye from the server person, and I told Dawn, I was like, this is already not turning out good. We go up there and crab leg eater. Down when we go to Myrtle Beach, I mean, I'll eat 6, 7, 8 plates of crab legs. And I understand they probably think most people's that ain't gonna happen. But this guy gives me like this little skinny cluster of crab legs the first time, and I was just like, appreciate it, whatever. So I go back just a few minutes later, and he had some weird accent. He's like, he smarted something off. To me, he smarted it off. And I said, buddy, I'm gonna be coming back a million times. Why don't you load me up here and let's see what we can do? So he gives me like one more little cluster or whatever, and I was just thinking, well, then I got this on camera, and I've thought about, I don't know, I might still do it. I've thought about making a little review video But 2 server ladies behind us are cleaning off a table, and there's literally like us and one other table in there that's got people at it. And this is a decent sized place. Well, this woman has got like some vulgar music playing very loudly on her phone, and she's just like right behind us, you know, and some kind of rap, Spanish, I don't know what it was. And I'm pretty well versed in some music. And I was like I'm not trying to sit here and get blasted by some phone speaker talking about edible underbreeches or whatever it was. So that finally went away. Well, then some other guy that worked there is over there talking to somebody beside us about the Ukrainian government was going, all this political crap, which I like political crap, but I didn't want to hear it while I'm, anyway. I keep going back to the crab man, and he like just had a weird attitude. The crab legs sucked. It was like I was getting the bottom of the pile, basically, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't worth a flip. And then half the stuff was not up there. It was just not a good experience at all. And I don't remember which one. I had one of either the Action 5 or the Nano with me, and I just set it on that little tripod, and like literally it recorded the entire time we were there, because there was so much stuff, so much live action going on. So I may or may not make some kind of review video, because I know everybody has their off nights, but that was like 7 or 8 different things that happened. When we got to the dessert part of it, there was like 0 desserts left up there, with like 30 minutes or so left to be open. And then after we got done, this restaurant is connected inside through a door. You go into one of them gift shops where they sell like the fake Disney stuff. And I already told Dawn, I said, let's just walk over there and I'll get the Uber to pick us up in the front of there. We can kind of just see what they got. Well, I also got on video. I walked through there holding my camera like I'm some kind of fancy vlogger person. And I found out a couple years ago, those places do not like you taking pictures or vlogging in their store. I guess they think you telling people that it's fake, because it is fake. But I wasn't saying that. I was just going to show, hey, they got all this stuff. As soon as I take like 2 steps in that store, this lady, whatever, you know, from somewhere, she's like, camera. And so I just flipped it over to her. I was like, how you doing? And so I turned it off. She didn't ask me to turn it off. She was just saying, camera. And the guy up front was looking like, are they coming to tackle me or what's going on? And so I turned it off, and it was a bunch of fake Disney stuff as expected. And then some crackhead lady came in the front door while we was waiting on our Uber, scratching and stuff. Y'all got a restroom up in here? And I told Dawn, I was like, this woman is a crackhead, like full blown. Let me back my story up. I don't know why I'm talking, we're supposed to be talking about Disney. We walked over to Old Town after we left that Maine Coon Manor situation, and all the Old Town stuff was neat. They had the classic cars out. There's a fun spot hooked to the main strip there, so we walked over there and looked at all their rides. And I mean, it's like a small amusement park situation. We looked at all their stuff, went back, walked up the main street. Joanna wanted a snow cone. Some Mexican man by the name of Navarro whipped us up a snow cone. And then as soon as we walked back out of the front of what you'd call Old Town, that little main strip, I hear something going like, bam, bam. Well, then I hear this guy cussing up a storm. And immediately, like, we flew in. I ain't got no knife on me. I ain't got no gun on me, nothing like that. All I got is these bows to throw. And as soon as we round the corner, there's this dude, I don't know what he was on, but he was on some good stuff. And he is punching the Old Town Kissimmee sign, looking at everybody walking by. F you, come over here, F you. And ooh, stuff like that makes my blood boil. Like, I want to go over there and just, let's do this. But not with the family. So when we came out of the Maine Coon Manor, which was like a block away, on the other side of it, there was a liquor store. And not just like a regular liquor store, like a bad liquor store. And somebody came out of that liquor store as we were leaving, some sort of homeless figure, and went into the Maine Coon Manor, and I don't know what he wanted, but they were like, you can get out of here. So I was already on a little bit of an alert, and it wasn't dark yet or anything. But anyway, so we waited a couple minutes on our Uber, and I was thinking, all right, I don't want this to turn too wild, and it didn't. But other than that, I really enjoyed Old Town, and that was just at the front little thing there, and I don't think nothing would have happened. And there's plenty of good old boys that if something would have happened, I don't think that guy would have been very happy, you know what I mean? But anyway, I guess the drugs and stuff is everywhere, you know what I mean? But that was sort of awkward. But Celebration last year, we go down there to trick or treat because that was before the Adam the Woo guy died. He was showing videos on his golf cart of all these Halloween things, and a couple other people I watched was showing, like, you can come down here and trick or treat and all this stuff. So I just Ubered to the town center and got out, and we spent 2 or 3 hours down there. I mean, loading up on some candy, and there was, houses decorated to the T. I mean, it was neat. It was very neat. I would love to go see it at Christmas time too. It's only like maybe 10 minutes from Magic Kingdom. I'm sure it would cost a small fortune to live there, but it was a very nice place. And we were just walking down random roads everywhere. But back to my eating stories. The Boston Lobster Feast in Kissimmee really let us down. The one in Orlando when we went was great. So I don't know if that's the norm or if they were just having a bad night. But when we walked in and there's like an hour and 15 or 20 or whatever minutes left, and you talking about, we close in a little over an hour, that's not a good start. That's not a good start at all. And like I say, their crab legs were just junk. Like they'd been sitting in water for 3 hours. You know what I mean? They didn't snap good. They wasn't big. They just, oof. So that's my rant about the Boston Lobster Feast. So now we got I need to look into it. We've got SeaWorld annual passes, and they are like dirt cheap, basically. And they give us all these extra bring a friend style passes or visitor. I don't know how they word it, but we got a bunch of them. I don't know if I could like screenshot those and send them to y'all, Garrett and Lindsay, and y'all go to SeaWorld, or if I'm supposed to be with y'all. But if I could just send those to y'all, I'll find out. Then I'm going to send you some, if that's something y'all want to fool with. Hang on, let me tighten this up. SeaWorld's like nothing compared to Disney World, obviously. And y'all may have already been there, I don't know. But it's neat to go spend like an afternoon or a morning or evening or something, a couple hours in. I mean, they got some neat stuff. And they got like the whale show and all that. That's pretty cool. And that firework thing we went to, there's a guy that I watch on YouTube, Andrew Platt, I think is his name. He's a younger cat that moved to Orlando from the West Coast, basically just for the theme parks. But he kind of gives the local down low, and he's like, man, the fireworks at SeaWorld will rival some of the Magic Kingdom stuff. And I thought, okay, well, sure enough, they had this massive fireworks show. I live streamed it, but you really couldn't see the magnitude of it. And during the fireworks, they had like a drone show with like sea animal drones doing all this stuff. It was pretty neat. I'll give it to them. But yeah, we had never been until I think last December is when I bought those passes because they were just so cheap. And I was like, you know what, it'll be something. And the problem now is we didn't bought so many of these dang passes. It's kind of, unless you go in for at least like 4 or 5 days, you can't do it all, and the focus is still Disney stuff. But we've been doing like a evening at SeaWorld, and I got to figure out what, with the Universal stuff, what the plan's going to be, because we bought those passes. And like this last trip and this coming trip, we stayed at Universal for a night or two there, which is fine. I guess it'd be different if we drove every time. It wouldn't be that big a deal. But I don't know. I got to figure out the game plan. But I mean, they got some neat stuff at SeaWorld. There's a couple. I mean, they got some big roller coasters that you don't really see anywhere else. And then they got some neat, like that Penguin Trek one Joanna really likes. It kind of puts you in the mind of Slinky Dog or something. They've got some sort of theater thing that's like Soarin', but it's always had such a line, we hadn't even rode it yet. But there's a couple smaller coasters, there's a couple family coasters, and then there's some big boys. And then they got like a dolphin show, a orca show, sea lion show. So Joanna really likes all the animal stuff. So it works out pretty good. I hadn't quite figured out where Universal fits in, but I think on future trips we could either just have like a day set aside or maybe 2 half days to kind of go to Universal and do stuff. It's just so different than Disney. Like, I'm used to being able to buy lightning lanes and stuff with Disney, but dang, if you buy that express pass at Universal, them things are a small fortune. So, I don't know. I really wanted to wait until they added Epic to the annual pass, because that's where Joanna really likes. And I thought they was going to do it sometime this year, but I don't think it's going to happen for another year or two, because I think they quickly figured out Epic just does not have the capacity to handle many people at all. You know, the first time we went, I made a video about it, I think. It was last October, I think. And like the majority of the rides were down, and there were 4-hour waits for stuff. So I sent a very nice email to Universal. I mean, I wasn't even asking for anything. I just said, hey, here's our experience, whatever. And them jokers gave us told us to come back. So we went back in December, I think it was, or January or something. And I thought, honestly, that's probably why I bought the annual passes. I thought that was pretty dang spiffy of them. But I hope they add Epic to that pass, because that's the main thing Joanna is all about. She loves the Jurassic Park stuff too, which, I mean, I like all of it, the Back to the Future stuff but like, she don't even know what Back to the Future is, or E.T. or anything, you know what I mean? I got a cat jumping on me. But I like all that stuff, so anyway, we'll see. It's just crazy how much cheaper some of those Universal hotels are than Disney, but that Express Pass is just crazy expensive. So I gotta figure. I've kind of got my feet wet with the Universal stuff, but I hadn't been there enough to really figure it out. I'd love to go to one of the horror nights, but I don't. Obviously, Joanna wouldn't go, so I'd have to figure all that out. And I'm not even. I mean, I am, but I ain't about. I don't want to get jump scared too much, but it would be fun to see it all. You know what I mean? Yeah, we took Joanna to Universal when she had just turned 5, and like, I mean, she rode like some of the Seuss stuff and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it was just kind of like, I don't think, you know. But anyway, it's working out. Thank you, Patriotism USA. But I mean, I think Universal's fun. But I don't know, compared to like Disney, I don't know that I could spend more than about 2 days at Universal, or I'd be like bored out of my mind. Not bored, you know what I mean. At Disney, like, there's a million different ways you can go, and resorts and this and that and the other. Universal's just sort of together, and I don't really have any complaints about that visit we did this last trip. I mean, we spent a night there at that Cabana Bay or whatever. It was a neat resort. Now, it wasn't as clean as a Disney resort. There was like, in the cafe, I think I videoed some of it, and it was like magic ruined or something. But, you know, just stuff wasn't as clean as you would probably see it at Disney. But it was still really nice, and like, we didn't have any issues with any of the buses or the anything, you know. I kind of like the whole city walk vibe. That's pretty neat. And of all places, of all the steaks I've tried in Orlando to this point, the best consistent steak is at that dang chocolate factory place, that Wholesome or Toothsome or whatever it's called, chocolate factory. When we first went there, I was like, this is just a big theme, whatever. It ain't going to be worth a flip. And I got that filet, and I was like, dang, this joker was pretty good. So we went back this past trip, and it was spot on again. So I'm sold on that place. Yeah, Disney just feels like the place, you know what I mean? And what I like about Disney, whether we drive or fly in, like once you get there, you really ain't got to worry about nothing. Like you can, if you don't want to drive anymore, you can take Skyliners or buses or monorails or whatever. And I mean, there's multiple parks. There's resorts you can go check out. There's Disney Springs. There's just so much stuff to do. I think our longest trip was 13 days. Was that last year or year before? It might have been the year before. And in 13 days, that was before we were going to SeaWorld or Universal. We still didn't do it all, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. We are counting down the days. Patriotism USA, September the 2nd, we go down there and stay till the 7th. So, we're staying at French Quarter, so that'll be fun. And doing a Halloween party. Trying to figure out, we was talking earlier, should I live stream it? Should I not live stream it? Should I live stream some of it? I don't know what to do. But every Disney, I will say there's some resorts that feel different. Like, like when we stayed at Saratoga Springs last August, it's huge, but you are right across the lake from Disney Springs, which is good. But it felt a little, you didn't see as many like cast members, I guess is what you would say. And even there was a guy there that took us on a golf cart because we were on the closest to the Disney Spring walkway side of the resort. And he was real nice, and he was just talking to us on the way over there, and he said, mostly it's DVC people, you know, that are staying here. And he said, you know, they still got their main little check-in area, but I kind of expected a lot more to be going on than there was. He said, this is laid back, not super themed, you know, none of that. And we enjoyed it, but it was a little different. And then when we stayed at Coronado Springs, it was different because, you know, you got like the convention center, which I think they're doing some kind of refurbishment on, but you got the convention center, so there was a lot of business people there, but then you still had some families there, but not as many. So it was sort of a weird mix, and it had that big bus loop that had 4 or 5 stops inside the resort before it left, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. But solo trip versus a family trip, I don't know. They both have a purpose, I think. Solo, you can get a lot more done, you know what I mean? I'm a speed walker, so if I'm by myself, I can knock some stuff out. But, you know, I guess after a few days, if you go solo, if you don't meet up with some people or do something, it gets old, I guess. I would like to go down there solo at some point sooner than later and spend like an entire weekend just live streaming start to finish every day, you know, do some park hopping, do everything basically, just to see what happens. I would like to think it would bring in a lot of subscribers and a lot of, you know, people viewing at one time and all that versus us just randomly doing it, you know, a night or two when we're there. But I don't know. I was really, really, really close to pulling the trigger on going next weekend for that first Halloween party, but it sold out, and I was like, okay, that's my sign. I ain't doing it. That'll be fun. Solo Christmas party. We'll be down there. I got it on the phone that I'm live on. I don't think it's on this iPhone, but we'll be down there like 2 weeks before Christmas doing doing a Jollywood and doing a Very Merry. So that'll be fun. I really enjoy that parade for the Christmas stuff. And I guess that's the main thing I like. I like they do the Snope or whatever. It's not great if you're trying to film because that Snope will stick to your lens or whatever, but it's neat. It makes you feel very, I mean, it's still Florida and it's hot, but it makes it feel Christmassy. And then Jollywood, it's got a different feel. That'll be good. Opening night for the Christmas party. Yeah, that'll be real good. It's still crazy to me how quick they can decorate all these parks. From what I could tell, as of today, they hadn't done anything, but I would imagine one morning in the next few mornings, when somebody down there goes live, it's gonna have the beginning of the Halloween stuff, and obviously by Friday, the first party has got to have it all up, you know. And then same thing, it's like last year they did it a little different. I think the last Halloween party they took down everything and everybody freaked out because in years past they took it down and put up some of the Christmas stuff in that one night. But last year they just took down everything and then waited like a day and then put up everything, or not everything, but almost everything. It's neat how they do that. I watched a thing that was on Disney Plus that showed them like how they repainted the castle and behind the scenes and all that. I like that sort of thing. It's kind of neat. You always wonder something that, a company that big, you know, how does all that work? But it does. Patriotism. Look at this video. So there was a fight. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Hang on one second. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I didn't mean to put that up. How do I get this out of the way? This is at Flight of Passage. I mean, it is a straight up brawl. I mean, they are throwing some fists. I'm gonna grab my water while this is playing. I mean, they were like fighting. It wasn't just some like shoving going on. It was like the real deal. They didn't say, when I found this, they didn't say what started it. It just said the two groups had been going back and forth in line, and at that point in line they had been in line for 80 minutes. So I don't know how many. Oh, the cat's back. How many days do everything Magic Kingdom? Probably two. Oh Lord, Cat 1 and Cat 2 are not happy with each other. To me, to not be rushed to, you know what I mean? Like, I've bounced up in there before. Like, you get there at rope drop and you just go, but you will wear yourself out. It's nicer to kind of, to me, go first day, try to do the bigger stuff. That way you know it's done and you ain't worried on the second day. And then maybe the second day, chill out a little bit, do the stuff. Like, there's always the stuff, you know, that don't have a wait, you know, like, except for the very middle of the day, the Little Mermaid ride and Small World, the teacups, all that, except for that one little 2 or 3 hour block, like right there at the busiest time. You know, you can basically walk on those things. People mover even. I mean, it might get up to like 30 minutes midday, but earlier and later, 5-10 minutes. Stuff like that. And then like the tiki room and the country bears and all that. When the wait times get stacked, I'll go jump on all that stuff. Even Pirates is good. It's got that little time where it gets backed up. But I've even got on it before, and I thought this might be a little busier than I want to fool with, and it didn't take 15 minutes to get on it. I don't know what caused them people to fight, but it's stupid people like that, and like the dummy that jumped out of the raft at Tiana's in Disneyland. Like, that's what's going to cause stupid stuff to happen. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have to wear they ain't said that, I'm just making this up, but have to wear a shoulder restraint to ride Tiana's or something because of stupid people. You know what I mean? And at first they said, oh, maybe the dude that jumped out had mental problems, and then it turned out no, him and his mama were fighting or like arguing, and he, to make a point, decided he was gonna jump out of the log. I mean, that's crazy. That is beyond crazy. And then, I don't know, you read about it every week. It's just something like that happens. And then I think some of it catches Disney's attention. And it's like, originally, they didn't even have the little bar on Tiana's or Splash Mountain back then. They said the only reason they put it on there is not because they were worried about people falling out. They said the ride would get backed up and people would just get on out of it and walk, go find an exit. And they had to stop that. It wasn't because people were falling out of the thing. Yeah, I think the problem is people spend so much, and I agree, like, for most people, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime trip or a once every 5 or 10 year trip or whatever, and they spend all this money, and it's like, if they don't get their way, rah, rah, rah. But the absolute worst time for me is right after the fireworks. People are shoving and pushing and ran. I mean, it's bad. It is just bad. I'll never forget. I don't know if it's still on it's on the channel, but I don't know if it's still public or not. But one year, like a year or two ago, I was live streaming and we were getting on Haunted Mansion. And I hate the part of Haunted Mansion when the doors open to the stretching room and everybody just pushes out the door. And what I'll normally do, most of the time what I'll do, under the lady with the parasol or whatever, that's where the door opens. I'll just walk in there and go right under her so that I can just step out that door. But if I can't get over there, then I'll get on the other side and just try to be the last one out the door. Well, long story short, I went out that door, and this girl comes flying around me and Dawn, and like she about knocked the entire gimbal out of my hand. She's literally like diving in to get to the front of this line or whatever, and I about lost it. I don't know if I wouldn't have been holding that gimbal. I don't know what I would have done. I wouldn't have obviously I wouldn't have hit her, but I might would have grabbed her and we had a chat with a cast member or something. But it blew my mind that somebody did what she did. I'll have Dawn when she's here tell that she's seen it from standing beside me, but like this girl literally just like dove, about knocked the gimbal out of my hand, about knocked us down, and we were like, hey, what are you doing? But it was just about the same way when we rode Guardians of the Galaxy this past trip. I dread when you have to go from room to room there for all that pre-show stuff. And that's the one thing I wish Disney would change is I hate, and I understand why they do it, but I hate the funnel system. You know what I mean? It's like funneling cows or something, and everybody's like pushed up against each other. And I'm like, hey, I got an 8-year-old here so we got in the back. But then what happened? We got in the back, and then the group behind us, the doors open, and they come pushing up on us, and I'm just like, come on now, this is getting out of hand. But anyway, we were talking about Space Mountain earlier. From what I'm reading and hearing, and I don't have any inside information, but I've heard this enough to believe it might be true. I think they might gut Space Mountain, make it into a single track ride instead of having the two sides, and, you know, make it a lot smoother and all that. But what I was saying is if they do that, they're going to have to close down the People Mover because it goes through there while it's happening, unless they somehow, I mean, it's already got a wall and a plexiglass wall and all that. Unless they really, really walled the People Mover off, I would think they would have to close it down, which I'm not a fan of. I've never been to Disneyland, but they closed their People Mover years and years ago, and a lot of people want it to come back, and I think a lot of stuff would have to happen for it to work. But man, I love the People Mover, and I know it's just a stupid slow ride for most people, but I like it. It's old. There's some history to it. It's fun. I like Space Mountain. I do agree it'd be nice if it was a little smoother and it's a little jerky and all that, but I like it. I like the history of it. I like all that. And they're talking about Spaceship Earth might get some sort of refurb at some point. I think of all the refurbs, they should probably focus on Figment. And that would be at Epcot, where there's not a lot of other stuff getting refurbed right now. Because I think if Space Mountain happens, they need to wait till Villains and Cars Land is built and then worry about Space Mountain. That's my opinion. Get Figment back to Dreamfinder and all that stuff, and that would make the old school people happy. That would give it some new. It's dated, you know what I mean? We still ride it every time. I love Figment. Joanna loves Figment, but you can the screens are dated and everything, so I don't know. It sucks because the fireworks, I'm so torn on fireworks. The one, I got something in my gizzard. I could care less for whatever reason about the fireworks at Epcot. I do not like their newest fireworks for whatever reason. It just don't do it for me. But Happily Ever After does. So I really like seeing them. But now I will say we've skipped them a few times, and you can ride some stuff. Lately, what I try to do is my favorite place to watch them from is like the very center of Main Street, because you can see all the projections. You can see the projections on the castle and the fireworks. But I think our last 2 or 3 trips, we would either get over toward Tomorrowland or Adventureland. That way, as soon as fireworks are over, we ain't really fighting the crowd that much, and we can shoot to like where Pirates or Jungle Cruise or wherever we want to go. So we've got caught a few times. I think I was live streaming on 1 or 2 of them. We got off a ride late or whatever and was behind the castle for the fireworks. And it's neat to see that like maybe once, but you don't realize how far back they're shooting the big fireworks off. It's way back there. At D23, I don't know. I think they'll announce something about the Figment ride. I think there may be mention of the Space Mountain stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll be like a solid date. I think it might just be like I think it'll be a lot of more specific information about Villains Land and Cars Land, because there's still a lot of stuff they hadn't said, about all that. And then, I don't know, maybe Figment. There's rumors about Space Mountain. I don't know. I mean, Space Mountain probably needs some, not Space Mountain, Spaceship Earth needs some love, but I don't know mechanically, I don't know, but every time we're on it, it breaks down for a few minutes or something happens, but I don't know in the scheme of things where it lies, versus Space Mountain or Figment or whatever. Somebody even said they might be announcing a new country coming to World Showcase. I've only heard one person say that. I don't know if that'll happen, but I think we'll hear a lot about Villains Land, Cars Land, and at least one of these rides we're talking about, whether it be Figment, Space Mountain, Spaceship Earth, something. So I don't know. The other thing I got to thinking about one night randomly was if they redo Space Mountain, and they do change out like the whole ride basically. Basically you're getting a new coaster. Do they have to cut the roof off of the thing? I mean, because obviously they're going to have to get cranes to bring in stuff, so something's going to have to happen to at least a portion of the building, I would think. Or do they completely cut the roof off and start, the Space Mountain is it in Paris? The Hyperspace Mountain, it's like Star Wars themed. I mean, I hope they keep it to some degree along the same storyline they've got now. But I could also see them wanting to bring in some of their Disney stuff and it be themed to this, that, or the other. But I don't know. I try to not get stuck in they need to keep stuff the same way, because I know it won't last. Like even Carousel of Progress, I really enjoyed Carousel of Progress, and I'm sure I'll enjoy Carousel of Progress when they redo it, but it's just going to be so weird with it starting in the 1980s, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Camera keeps bouncing, or keeps focusing. I love Spaceship Earth, but I will say the last several rides we've had on it, it would stop. And you never know, are they loading wheelchair people or is it something wrong with it? But the last time we rode it, something was wrong with it, because we sat for like 10 minutes and I was even like, we were about to get evac'd off of this thing, and it finally started back up. And we actually were late to some dinner or something we had because of waiting. And, there's other rumors that Haunted Mansion may get some different stuff going on. There's all these rumors about the Hanging Man going away, and he's been hard to see for a while. And that Scrim is dirty, and then whoever reported that he was gone, but he really wasn't gone. And then there's rumors of Constance, is her standing there with the axe too much, you know what I mean? Are they going to switch her out to that beating heart bride that came to Disneyland? I hope they don't. I love the axe. I think they're making a lot of stuff too soft, you know what I mean? But I will say this, I hope they don't do away with the Hanging Man. But I remember the first time I rode Haunted Mansion, and I thought, man, we're at Disney World, and there's somebody that hung himself up there in the attic. That's pretty wild. But I don't know. To me, Haunted Mansion is one of those sacred deals. You don't mess with it. But I'm afraid they may sooner than later. Oh yeah, I brought these out here to show y'all. They may go berserk and connect to the phone, and the sound may get crazy, but these are my spy glasses. It's some Ray-Ban Metas or whatever. I bought these. Hang on, let me just show them to you. You can take a picture. Oh. They just connected, so I don't know if I'm talking through these or through that, but you can take a picture like that. You can record, and they blink, which is fine. Hopefully my sound's working, but I actually bought them because I got the annual pass to Six Flags in Georgia, which is like 2 hours from us. Until this year, I hadn't been down there since 2006. And my thought was, it's like costs nothing. It's like $8 a month or something for that pass. And I told Dawn, I was like, well, maybe, when we're not at Disney or nothing's going on, we could run to Six Flags or whatever. Well, they announced this year, hey, cat, get down, that you could record on their rides now if you had camera glasses and a strap on them. So I bought these just for that, and I've made a few Six Flags videos now. And Six Flags also bought Carowinds, which is 2 hours north of me. I'm right between the two of them, so we've been to both. But I did take them to Disney World as well, because they are very convenient on like a roller coaster. To where if you don't like, I got Joanna, she's 8, fixing to be 9. Most of the time she's wanting me holding her, putting a hand near her or whatever. So half the time now I can throw these on and just record, and it does a pretty good job. These second generation glasses record in 3K vertical. So if I crop that down to horizontal, it still has 1080p. So I had looked at a bunch of the reviews, and basically it said these had basically the best stabilization and blah blah blah. So I got these. I can tell like a difference, but I don't think average Joe can. You know what I mean? I don't know what they've added or not added to Boo to You. I know. Hang on, let me show you. I popped this up earlier. They changed the dang costumes. Flip over. Hang on, I'm trying to get that other one. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well, it ain't doing what I wanted to do. I don't know why it zoomed in on me. Anyway, you may have already read. They changed the costumes. And the new costumes I'm not a fan of at all. So I did see some of the food items. I didn't really research all of them. But I don't know. I think the last big thing I remember them changing on that parade was a couple years ago when they added Ursula, which I thought was a good addition. But I don't know. I realize they need to change stuff to keep up. This cat, man, I'm telling you, he's going berserk. They need to change stuff every now and then, but at the same time, I love that Boo to You music, and I love the Headless Horseman. And it was funny because the horse they're using now, his name is Dragon. And the year before they started using Dragon, we were at Port Orleans Riverside, and we did the horse carriage thing. It's about 30 minutes, but they took us around Riverside and French Quarter. It was real neat. But Dragon was the horse that pulled us, and the lady was telling us then, she said, we're taking Dragon several nights a month to the Magic Kingdom and running him through the Boo to You route to get him ready. And I was like, that is neat. And then we got to see him last year. You know, there's Dragon Horse with the Headless Horseman, and I thought that was pretty neat. And we actually went out last year again to the Tri-Circle D Ranch and seen Dragon. He's a big old boy. And I don't think they'll change any, you know. I think this year's theme is sort of the Headless Horseman, so I don't see that changing, but I don't know. I hadn't really heard, other than the costumes, of any changes just yet, but I'm sure there'll be something. I had heard maybe the pirate band they call the Rusty Cutlass might not be back this year, but I went to their Facebook page. I really like them, and it turns out it's just a couple older dudes, and I mean, they sound good. They got multiple instruments and all, but they're not employed by Disney. They're like an outside band that Disney hires and brings in for all these parties. And I look on their Facebook page, they go all around Central Florida, you know, these random parties in the villages or wherever, and do their little routine, which I thought was neat. But they mentioned something about I think it was Jack Sparrow or somebody meeting in that same sort of area that Rusty Cutlass was in. So I hope they're back, because I really liked them. And last year, if anybody was watching, I was live streaming them, and that one main pirate came like right up to the phone and was like, "Do you have the rum?" or something, and I thought that was so cool. But anyway, I don't know if they'll be back. That's the one thing I've sort of heard mentioned online. People said they hadn't, on the whatever they've released so far, there's no mention of them, so we'll see. But who knows? Yeah, I hadn't really even researched the Christmas stuff yet. It's so weird to me that like July the 4th they put out Halloween stuff, and then we'll be halfway through the Halloween season and they'll have Christmas stuff going out. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Ginger. Hang on a minute, I'll get him over here. He's over here prowling, looking for the other cat. Ginger. Meow. Come here. Come here. I'm waiting for him to jump on that other cat. The phone. The phone's cool as a cucumber. It's probably because I'm hooked to Wi-Fi. I notice, and this is something I don't know and I need to learn, but I know there's certain rides, like at Magic Kingdom, that Wi-Fi does better, and there's certain rides that the cell signal does better. I know there's, like, the Little Mermaid ride, I can't get nothing. The first, like, 45 seconds of that ride, I can't get either one to do a good signal. But there's some rides that'll, that like Wi-Fi and vice versa. But I notice at Magic Kingdom or anywhere at Walt Disney World, if I've got it on the cell signal, it gets hot quick. But right now, that joker is, she feels normal. Ginger. He's over there. He's an orange cat. He's over there just doing orange cat things. Come here, buddy. Come here. See if I can get him. Come here. Come here. Come here. Get over here. I'm trying to lure him over here. Come here, they want to see you, buddy. Oh, he took off. I tried. He'll meander back over here in a minute. But, I'll be curious to see. I guess that'll be the good thing about last year. We were there for that opening night of the Halloween party, and I didn't know what to expect because you don't know what they've changed. I'll tell you what else I heard. Normally at, I don't remember if it was 6 or 7 o'clock, Powerline Max would come out in Frontierland right in front of the Liberty Tree Tavern basically and do his little standout routine. And then he would go from there and basically head toward Main Street and stop ever so often and do it. And then he would also, about 5 or 10 minutes in front of the parade, come down Main Street doing it. Somebody made mention on one of the Facebook groups that they didn't think that was going to happen this year. So I don't know. You don't ever know if they really know or if they're just talking or what. But there's no telling. I need to see what percentage I got. Speaking of the phone, oh, it's still good. Ginger's over growling at another cat. I wish it was not against the rules at Disney to do like, not tours, but like, I wish I wouldn't, like, it'd be fun to me, not even for any money to be exchanged, but to be like, hey, we're going to meet up with 10 people on Saturday and just go do a little bit, like, basically meet up with some people you meet on YouTube and maybe even find people that have never been there or don't know, you know, when the wait times get crazy or whatever, and just go do stuff and have a good time sort of thing, you know what I mean? But they would see it as a tour or whatever, and they'd get their panties in a wad probably. But to me, that would be neat. But I hope. Well, I guess Friday we'll get to see the first Boo to You stuff, and then I think it's the week after is D23. Get to see what's going on there. I'll tell you something else I'd like to do sooner than later. Down on the coast of South Carolina is the Hilton Head Disney resort thing. And it'll probably take us about 4 hours to get there, maybe somewhere in there. I'd like to go down there, and I had actually looked up a couple dates where Dawn wasn't working and we could have went, but it was always booked. I mean, it's a DVC resort. We're not DVC, but I can still buy like a night or two. But I'd like to go down there and scope it out maybe for 2 nights or something. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know. Powerline Max, I always thought that was a good thing when he came out. Hopefully they don't they don't axe that, but you never know. You know what I mean? I feel like every time something cool is happening, they change it or cancel it or who knows what. I don't know how we ended up with that resort thing in Hilton Head. I don't even know how long it's been there, to be honest with you. But I wish they would put more of those character warehouse type situations out and about, because down in Myrtle Beach they got a Disney store and it's similar to a character warehouse. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that's not discounted, but they got a pretty nice section that is discounted. But then when we went to Dollywood, they got a Disney store in Pigeon Forge, and it kind of sucks. I mean, it's like full price, very little discounted stuff. It's just kind of overpriced, you know what I mean? And it's like a real Disney store, but I wish they would spread some Disney stores back out, because back in the day, about 45 minutes north of us in Greenville, there was one. There was one, I think, down in Commerce, Georgia. Yeah. I guess it's just because what I look at, but on all these apps, I see those character outlet videos like all the time. Honestly, if I lived there, I'd probably go several times a week just to video them, you know what I mean? Just to show what's out there. I don't know if I'd want to get into the whole personal shopping mess, because I don't know how those ladies keep up with like who ordered what and who paid, and do you have them paid before or after. That'd be a whole nightmare. But when I go there and have done those videos, it does get a good number of views or whatever, so I don't know. But the one in Myrtle Beach, it's just a regular Disney store, but it seems like they have a pretty good selection of discounted stuff too. I thought the one in Pigeon Forge was going to be that way when we went the first time. I think it was early part of the year, and I kept looking and looking, and like it was all like full price stuff, and I was like, dang it. We found a couple things in the back, you know, discounted, but not like the one in Myrtle Beach. I've been meaning to go to one of those Goodwills. I keep seeing those videos. I wouldn't mind like spending a half day or something and going. I'll tell you where else I'd like to go. I'd like to go to Goodwill and just see what they got in, you know, around Orlando. But I've never been to any of those stores that have like the old Disney stuff, like they've took off rides or sign. You know what I'm talking about? I can't Recycle the Magic, I think it's called, or something, in that Lakeland Antique Mall. I kept saying I was going to go there, but the Lakeland Antique Mall, I think it's like 45-ish minutes away, and I'm always like, dang it, I hate to waste a couple hours. But I would like to see what all they got. That's the thing about Orlando. There is just so much stuff going on. Like, we're here where we're at in South Carolina, we can ride up to Greenville, and I mean, there's a little bit of stuff. We're 2 hours from Atlanta or Charlotte, you know, and there's stuff there, but we typically don't end up there. But in Orlando, Lord, there's all those theme parks. Even outside of Orlando, within an hour, there's so much stuff. You can be on the East Coast. That one year we went to the Kennedy Space Center. That was very cool. I love all that space stuff. One thing I would like to take Joanna to is Gatorland. It's just not far, I think 20-30 minutes away from Disney property, but I wouldn't mind going there. What would worry me about those antique stores, I'd be done bought God knows what. I seen where, like a year or two ago, Paige and Mr. Morrow, he bought like one of the animatronic rubber skin heads off of one of the Spaceship Earth people. I think it was the guy, he was like one of the scribe people that this is sleep or whatever. Abigail, what's going on? No service in Gatorland. I think Joanna would like, I mean, I wouldn't want to spend like a long time there, but maybe a half a day or something. She would like Gatorland. That'd be pretty neat. I've looked it up several times and never ended up going there. There's another place when we leave the airport, you can see it off of I-4. It's called like the Crayola Experience. That'd be, I don't even know what, I mean, I'm sure it's something to do with drawing or coloring or whatever, but I'm sure she would like that too. But there's just so much stuff in Orlando to do. I mean, it is. We hadn't been to Busch Gardens. The SeaWorld pass we got, I just bought SeaWorld, but for a few extra bucks, you could add Busch Gardens and like the water park over there beside SeaWorld. But I was like, we already don't have enough time to do whatever we're doing in Orlando. I'm not going to add that. But I wouldn't mind at some point going over there and seeing it because I've never been there. Abigail, I got to show you something. I didn't show them. Hang on, there was a brawl on Flight of Passage. I guess this was yesterday. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna go check on Joanna. I'll be right back. It's like a minute-long video. Hang on a second. There it goes. That was Flight of Passage, and I don't know what went down, but they had a big brawl. The OG, the Crayola Factory. What all do they do there? I need to just look it up, I guess. But I passed that Crayola Experience thing every time we leave the airport, and I'm like, dang it, I need to look into that. See y'all, Garrett. Thanks for tuning in. Uh-oh. Might have a cat brawl. Yeah, like I couldn't imagine being in line like behind those people and that sort of a fight breaking out. Like you hear about the occasional push and shove or whatever, but they were like straight up throwing down. That would be crazy. But I'm sure they got a ban. I just feel bad because if you watch the video, it was like one random cast member girl was trying to break them up, and I'm sure it would take at least a few minutes for security to get there, you know what I mean? And then it said on the article it said security came and then the police, came later and all that and got them, but Lord, I don't know what I would do. I guess it would depend on what's the brawl about, you know what I mean? Like, does one of them need to be protected, or is it just a bunch of rednecks, or who knows, but I don't know. I got some kind of flying critter. Oh God. What in the world? That's a big old joker. He landed. But I don't know, the things you see. I was talking about the other month when that kid jumped out of that log on Tiana's in Disneyland, and at first people thought it was a mentally handicapped person. It turned out he was just arguing with his mama and dove out of the log or whatever. Like, that's berserk. That is, I couldn't imagine. It's a wonder the Joker didn't get hurt. But has school started back, Abigail? They start back here this week. I don't know where that thing went, but he was a big old flying critter. But I'd like to go to the antique stuff around Disney World. I keep saying I'm going to go to that Go Pen Pro place. But then I looked it up, and it's like 30 plus minutes north of Disney, of like Magic Kingdom. And I'm like, dang it, I thought it was right there near it. And then I got to reading on Reddit that one of those girls at the Go Pen... Nope, that cat's back. One of those girls at the Go Pen Pro place and some dude were dating, and he was much older than her, and then they had a falling out, and now he's opened up a pen place down near Kissimmee, and it's like a whole big rivalry thing. And I was like, my God, this is something else. And if you look it up on Reddit, I don't remember how it was worded or how I even found it, but I mean, there's like screenshots of text, and like, it's legit beef. I'm sure either him or her one is on there posting that stuff, but Lord. Yeah, I'll be glad when summer... I used to absolutely love summer, especially as a kid. But I swear every year I feel like it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and more humid, and it has been smoking hot here for like at least 2 or 3 weeks, like 100-degree hot and humid. God, it's been humid. It actually dropped down to about low 80s, I think, yesterday and today, and it's supposed to pick back up the next few days. But I'll be so glad when even if it just drops like into the 70s or something. It's just been so dang hot. You can't do nothing. When we went to Disney the other week, it was so hot down there. It was basically, it was the same there as it is here, but let's see here. How do I get this to work? But I think I could take the heat over the humidity. The crowds. We met Summer and is it Jacob, I think, at Hollywood Studios 2 visits ago, and I will say they were the nicest, most down to earth people. Let me text Joanna back. They were the nicest, most down-to-earth people. We sit there and talked to them for a few minutes, took a picture with them, the whole 9 yards. And you always wonder about how some of these people are like in real life, but I think they're legit. The crowds wasn't that bad. Because it was the week after the 4th. I imagine most of the 4th crowd was leaving, but it wasn't. It wasn't like a ghost town, but it wasn't packed either compared to what I've seen. Yeah, I've seen where the Summer and Jacob, I think that's his name, they're in Disneyland this week. Oh, Joanna has come out the door. I'm on the YouTube live. Oh. You come over here. Oh, you got a bug swarming you? Yeah. You can walk over here if you want to. Back up, cat.
see a spot.
But I think they're genuine. I've never met him, but I really think Paige and Mr. Morrow is genuine. I mean, the man went from working at the Denny's to being a Disney World fella. We were at Typhoon Lagoon this last visit, and Molly and Alan were there, and they were nice in person. I didn't bother them much, but I don't know. They post a lot of political stuff that I wish people, when they get, especially to be a bigger creator or whatever, these cats are going crazy. I wish they'd leave all that. I don't know, it ruins it sometimes, but they were nice in person. It seems to me like Alan was very down to earth, and maybe Molly is, but I think some of this has got to her head, just my gut feeling, but I don't know. But I'm trying to think of who we met. We were in line for the Figment ride last year, and I seen Emma and Quincy. They were right behind us. I heard their voices, and I whipped around, and I was like, I thought that was y'all. They were super nice, took a picture, chatted for a minute in line, from all ears. Who else have we met? I hadn't met Paige and Mr. Morrow. I hadn't met Tim Tracker. I seen he put a video out yesterday or day before. Had something going on, I think, with his gut or some kind of medical thing, and it like he had lost a lot of weight in his face or something. I don't know. I need to research more. You gonna come over here?
Oh, spots over here.
Oh, I got you. But it would also kind of be bad, as big as some of those have gotten. I'm sure they can't just go to the park and have fun anymore. People's probably, not that they're bothering them, but they're probably constantly getting stopped. And we seen hang on, Jackie, super enthused Jackie, at Epcot back in the spring. It was funny. I think we had a snack or something, and I heard her voice, and I looked, and she was right there by herself talking about a pen or something. So I walked over there, and we talked, and then Dawn walked over there, and Jackie couldn't figure out, there was a pen that was like a bubble wand pen, and I don't, made like Mickey Mouse or something. She couldn't figure out what it was, and Dawn said, I think it's a bubble wand. And in her video, she said, I just met some people, and something about, they told me it was the bubble wand. I thought that was cool, but.
Have you fed these cats recently? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, we fed them while ago.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna come over here and speak?
Okay. I'll wait till Spot looks
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, Tim, they had a video come out. I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't remember what I was doing, but he had some sort of health thing going on, and his face just looked like real skinny, and I don't want to say frail, but I don't know, something's going on. I need to rewatch it and see what's going on with him. But who knows? Let me see. How can I undo this? Oh, Abigail's on here.
Oh, okay. Hey, Abigail. Here's Spot down here.
The cat.
Yep.
Let's see. Gluten free. Dawn hadn't went like completely gluten free, but she has cut out a lot of gluten and noticed it just made her feel better. And I've thought about doing something similar, not like completely avoiding it, but when possible. I don't know. There's probably so much junk in all this food we eat now that who knows what we're eating, but it's crazy. She said, hey, Queen Joanna.
Oh. Hey. Currently just standing here with all these kittens.
The next trip we do in like a month will be for her 9th birthday.
Yep, I'm going to be 9.
And we're going to do Epic Universe on your birthday.
Yes,
is what she's
and
wanting
on
to
my
do.
Channel.
and then going to Disney the next day. But I guess I'll get off here.
Yep.
I've just been rambling and get her back in the house, and I need to get her in the bed. Dawn, our local hospital that Dawn works at, had a cybersecurity breach last Sunday, and all their screen, this is a pretty big hospital, all their screens popped up and basically said, we've took all your patient information. They wanted a ransom within 72 hours, or they were going to basically take everybody's information, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. So I don't know supposedly the FBI and Homeland Security and all this is involved, but the hospital, they had to cancel all their surgeries for last Monday. Dawn works in the pharmacy. It's been a mess. So she's having to work third tonight. I think they're just trying to get stuff figured out. And I think for 2 or 3 days, none of the phone lines worked, and it's a whole mess. But anyway, I guess we'll get off here for now.
Yeah.
And
I'm also surrounded by kittens.
she said, oh my God, 9 years old.
Yep.
Won't be long and you'll be
10.
46.
Yeah. My birthday is pretty close to December.
December.
Yeah, because it's September.
Anyway, we'll get off here, and maybe I can do more of these little porch chats. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. And if you remind me.
I figured you'd come out here at some point. But anyway, we'll see y'all soon. Thank y'all for chatting with us.